Another year has come and gone, and by that I mean E3 is over. Just a quick note, that was a boring E3 for me. Anyway, some things got announced and a lot of things didn't, including the fan favorite that many people have been asking for years. That's right, Ape Escape. Seriously, don't send out a tweet with the monkey and act like I'm not going to be expecting anything. Okay, for real though, I'm talking about F-Zero, maybe Metroid. And what's not to love about the series? Great characters, great designs, great levels, great racing, But with nothing being announced about it, and really who knows if anything will be said about it at all, I started to look back in the past as one is apt to do. Of course, that means looking at the racing games I played as I grew up. And sure, I can make this video about Sonic Riders, but what hasn't been said about that game? No. I want to look at a more interesting and definitely weirder game. Okay, yeah, Sonic Riders is weird, but this is weird in a different way, in a hot way. Now, back in 1999, Sony founded a new studio, and don't worry, it's not one of the 5 studios Microsoft acquired. This studio was Santa Monica Studio, and they were here to make games. But first, they needed to develop an engine. And what's the best way to show off a new engine? With a game, of course. Now this is one of those chicken or the egg philosophical questions because they're both named Kinetica, Kinetica Engine and Kinetica the game. I'm not really sure what came first in the naming process. Some sites said the engine was named after the game, but who knows really. And before I talk about the game, you might be wondering what else was made with the Kinetica engine. Well, just some small little games like Twisted Metal Black, Jak and Daxter, and God of War if that gives you a general idea of the feeling of the physics and such. Actually, just think of Jak Combat Racing and that'll give you an idea. Add all that with the fact that this game was released fairly close to the release of the PS2, and this has the makings of a launch game, or tech demo. Still, that doesn't mean it can't be interesting, or fun. You look at the box art and already you can see some notable things. It's clearly a futuristic racer just like F-Zero. It's these weird looking cars that are being ridden. Wait, that's not a car. That's a goddamn person. What the fuck? Yeah, that's the hands, the head, and the legs. See, this ain't your average futuristic racer, because in this world, if you want to get around, you gotta strap on a kinetic suit that makes you look straight out of a ridiculous YouTube video. You transform into a motorcycle and zoom along, but hey, at least someone isn't riding on top of you. They have to save that for the M-rated version. The only thing I really don't get is why they never covered the whole body. Like, what if the suits malfunction and you go slamming into the ground or something? You need some protection or something because that would be it for life. Not that I'm complaining or anything, it's just, don't blame me if shit hits the fan. I've been focusing on the suits a little too much, so it's definitely time to talk about the gameplay. This is what it shares with F-Zero. They are all about going crazy fast. What's a little different is that F-Zero handles the speed a little better. In Kinetica, there is a high chance that you just go slamming into the wall if you're unlucky or still getting used to the game. The level design isn't as great, and with only 15 tracks, things might start getting stale. Sure, for example, F-Zero GX doesn't have that many tracks, but it does have variations on it to keep things a little interesting. Actually, I take that back. Kinetica does have a backwards version of each level, but that feels more like a tacked on thing than something that was well thought out. It's not all bad though. The actual look of the levels is really cool and out there at times, which is just what I want in my futuristic racing game. You have big drops and a lot of upside down and gravity defying stuff, which I dig. With that said, other than level design, I need to talk about how the controls play into all that. It plays like your standard racing game from the pre-7th gen era. X is your acceleration button and you turn with the analog stick. But don't you dare hold that turn for longer than a second because you will drift harder than anything you've seen in Tokyo Drift. Once you get used to it though, you can start to figure out where to lean into the turns and become the true master of yourself, I guess. The most important thing in sorting that kind of stuff out is figuring out how your character works. There are 9 characters in the game, and they all have their own stats. Breaking it down, speed and acceleration are obvious, I hope. Mass, I think, has to do with you slamming into people. Grip affects how you turn, and Lord help you if you have low grip. As for cornering, I honestly have no idea. Maybe it affects the actual drifting, but clearly Ava is best girl. But still, Vigor is the best designed character, a regular old Donkey Kong lover. You can also press O to select the alternate costume, which is actually a different person, but no one presses that, so I'm not even going to talk about that, even though I just did. Past the simple stuff, there is a boost in the game, and it's actually super useful since you can be drifting out and the boost can set you straight without too big of a loss in speed. There are two ways to get your boost up. Firstly, you can find boost zones, I think that's what they're called, which you can siphon. Pretty simple. The other way is my favorite part of the game, and that's by tricking. This is near Mario Kart tricking, where you violently shake the controller when you jump. This requires timing and risk management. So you hold R1, and then you can move the analog stick in different ways to do tricks. I'm talking up, down, half circles, full circles, left, rights, and such. You can do these tricks on the ground or in the air, and each character has different moves, which shows off their personalities. If they had any, of course, and since you are just a person with wheels attached, the moves look pretty unique. So there's an upside and a downside to the tricks. On the ground, doing tricks can slow you down, and in the air, you could be disoriented or just bail out, which will set you at 0 speed. Add in combos and that doubles everything. Sure, you get more boost from combos, but you slow down more and you have a higher chance of fucking yourself up in the air. And while the controls can be finicky, aka the moves sometimes just don't come out, you can queue them up and don't worry, you're not locked into them. You can just let go of R1 and stop whatever you're doing. If you're in the air though, you might just be stopped upside down or something stupid. Now you have the tricks, but what about the power? Of course they're power-ups, this is Kinetica. You pick up these energy shards scattered around the map, and when you get enough you have a random power-up. Most of them have to do with your boost, but there's one that's like a wasp of arrows, like your speedy or something, and EMP grenades that absolutely shut down anyone who chooses to be an idiot and gets close to you. By the way, the infinite boost is busted and shouldn't have made it past QA, and I'm pretty sure you can't turn it off, so you'll just have to live with it. It kinda sucks that there was no Kinetica 2 or some sort of spiritual successor, because this game has some great ideas and a cool setting which I think could have been expanded upon. What's left when you exhausted all you can talk about with the controls and gameplay? Oh yeah, the rest of the content. Well, there really isn't much. You can choose between 1 players or 2 players and can do a series of races, 1 races, or training races, but that's it. In single player mode, you do have a career mode where you go through 3 seasons of races, each with 4 maps and a bonus race. Just finish first every time and there should be no problems. Easy. Oh, also you can unlock characters like this, so I guess there is a reason to go through it other than self-satisfaction. And as for the music, it's house music. What more can I say about it? It all sounds the same to me, so I don't know. Hey Sony, it's been 17 years. I saw you put it on the PS4 in like 2016, so shelve Gran Turismo and give me my goddamn Ava in HD, damn it. F-Zero, what the fuck is that? I need my Kinetica, hashtag bring back Kinetica. No, but seriously. Kinetica is like super dead, and I will be honestly shocked if we ever see anyone important bring this game up. Like, you can't even cash in on nostalgia for the game. All I can hope for is that someone makes a game that has people that fundamentally function as motorcycles. Better yet, F-Zero, but the characters are now the rides, like Captain Falcon is the Blue Falcon or something stupid like that. Blue Captain Falcon. And still a work in progress. I'll get back to you on that.